Drew Nosar.
What is up?
Man, we've known each other for just a little bit, huh?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. How are you doing, man?
I am doing great. It's our every 4-year family battle we got going on.
Yeah, bud. Yeah, man. Big night tonight, man. We've got really special guests that you kind of helped put together. It was basically a reach out
It was a reach
for
out.
a big Ravens fan, and Bears and Ravens are facing each other. So we're gonna get the broadcaster for the Ravens to come on, and we're gonna talk a little Ravens Bears.
Yep. I'm glad to have Melissa coming on and joining us probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. Before we get started, I'd like to get a little rant out. The National League MVP has been awarded to none other than Bryce Harper. What the heck?
Yeah, he deserves it, man, dude. He has had an unbelievable year. Now his team made a push. His team actually was winning, the division until it was Mets, Phillies, and then the Braves came on this amazing run. So Bryce Harper makes sense. I don't think there's anybody in the NL that had a better year than Bryce Harper.
Trey Turner should have. With the batting title,
no.
They made the playoffs. Bryce didn't even make the playoffs.
It doesn't matter, man. Baseball doesn't care about playoffs, dude. The Cy Young is won by pitchers that all the time don't make the. Cy Young's going to be a tiny for the AL.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, man. That's not gonna hurt anything by any means, man. But
no, we think Burns is going to get it, right?
I don't know, man. I think Otani is going to wind up getting it, man.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes, man. But dude, let's get into a little bit, man. Kind of give a little teaser what's going on tonight, man. We got Melissa Kim from the Baltimore Ravens coming on tonight, man. Man, there's so much I want to talk about this game, but I mean, we're going to save it for her. But sure. We do have some football we want to talk about, man. We got we got some good college football games coming on, man, this weekend. I think it's going to wind up affecting a lot of what's going to happen with the playoffs, man. There's a couple
Ohio
games.
State, Michigan State. That's going to be
man. One. I mean, I think Kemba Walker is going to win the Heisman. I mean, he's the running back from
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. I think he's the best. I mean, I think he's the best player in the league. I could be wrong. Might give it to a quarterback. It's hard for a running back to win the Heisman, but the Ohio State Michigan State game is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud. I mean, he's again probably one or two in the other than Bryce Young for MVP, but we'll see, or the Heisman. It's going to be an interesting game, definitely. If Ohio State wins out, it's going to basically make that top four interesting.
Dude, they've got Ohio State as a 19-point favorite and a 68.5 over. Now, Michigan State's defense, their passing defense is horrific. I think they rank like 120th in the nation in terms of passing defense. So Ohio State's going to run all over. Pass all over them. But 19 points, man, that's a lot. And Ohio State hasn't been really blowing out anybody. I mean, they just beat Purdue, but it wasn't like they did cover, but barely covered. But it wasn't like this big blowout. They haven't blown out really hardly anybody. I think Michigan State could actually keep this close, man. I think it's going to be within the 19 points.
If Michigan State can control the ball with Kenneth Walker, he may go for 220 in this game. I mean, who knows? If he does, if he breaks it, I mean, it's going to be a long day for Ohio State. So I actually like Michigan State to cover that 19. That's a huge number to be putting up there.
Sam, we were talking about Michigan State and Ohio State, man. The game coming up for college football, man. It's a biggie. It's a 4 versus 7. And I think, 19-point spread for Ohio State. It is playing at home. You have Michigan State, one of the worst passing defenses in college football right now, man. But 19 points with a 68.5 over. And like we were talking about, Michigan State has, I think, the Heisman winner. I think it's Kenneth Walker. But you have that kind of running back that's be able to run the ball against Ohio State, be able to control the clock, keep Ohio State off. I mean, that could do one of two things. It's going to keep the over out of the game, right? It's going to keep the under. But also, too, it's not going to have Ohio State do this as a blowout, man. I mean, they're not going to just
No.
go all over the place with them. And I think that's a little bit too much, man.
I think it's a lot too much. I'm thinking this is a 1-score game. This is going to be down to who has the ball last, with the chance to
Agreed.
whoever has the ball last has a chance to win. And I do not like that total. I'd go under that, and I'd take, Michigan State's getting 19.
They're getting 19 now, and they're on the road. I mean, they're going, they're going to Ohio State.
It's fine, but this is not the Michigan State team of a year or two ago.
Yeah.
This Michigan State team is a contender. Let me
it doesn't pass the smell test to me. I mean, unless Vegas knows something that we don't. There's just no chance of 19 points in this.
I think it's good. I think this number is going to change. It's probably going to go to 17. It's probably going to drop down to 17 before game time. But I mean, to have it a 19, not even a football number. I mean, people are just going to have to hammer Michigan State line, right?
Yeah. Well, here, let me go back to my notes here that I had here from Monday night's show. Michigan State, their wins against ranked opponents, they won at a number 24 team, and they beat the number 6 team at playing them at home. Ohio State's wins over ranked opponents, they've beat a number 20 team and they've beat a number 19 team. Right. And their only other chance against a ranked opponent was against number 12 Oregon, and they lost that at home.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, they're both 9-1. Obviously Michigan State did lose to Michigan at home. That definitely hurt. But I mean, honest to God, man, no, they beat Michigan. They lost to Purdue at home. And I don't know, man. I just think that Ohio State's not going to cover that number. I think they're going to win. I just don't think they're going to cover that number.
And what's more impressive about that Michigan win was they were down 30-3 or something going into the third.
Yeah,
and they came back and spanked them. So
correct.
I mean, there's a lot to say about Michigan State, man.
Yeah, another one I'm looking at, man, is Arkansas and Alabama, man. Arkansas and Alabama. This is going to be an interesting one here too, man, because Arkansas started off gangbusters. Okay, they started off like really, really well. I don't know, man, if they've got enough gas in the tank to carry on an Alabama team. But this is one of those. Look, if Alabama looks ahead, because I mean the Iron Bowl's next week, guys. Auburn and Alabama are next week. Now, Auburn's Bo Nix is out. He broke his ankle. He's done for the season. So I don't know if this is going to be a true look ahead, but I tell you one thing, man, if Alabama just sleeps a little bit on Arkansas, they're going to have a game on their hands. And Arkansas is, again, started out gangbusters, but then they faded late, during the season, man. But it's gonna be tough to kind of control, man, with this.
It's all going to depend on if that Arkansas defense shows up, and they've been showing up in those SEC games. So, but Alabama's a whole other monster. I mean, compared to anything else in that
Alabama is a 3-touchdown favorite against Arkansas at home, 21 points. The over/under is 58. I don't know if Alabama. I think Alabama can cover it. I think it'd be a 24-point game if Alabama does its thing, but I think you just hammer the over. I do. I think you hammer the over. I think 58 points. I mean, I see it going more than that.
I think you can make a case for over or under in that one.
I'll tell you what though. If Alabama plays anything like Georgia did, Georgia shut them out 37-0 or something like that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, Arkansas could be an absolute just a freight train.
Yeah, I'm trying to. If I put my eyes on it, then it starts speaking to me. I'm trying to find that, and every time I go to DraftKings, it wants me to sign up, and there's no way I'm throwing real money at this stuff. I can say what I think, but there's no way I'm putting my money on it. Right. So it says Arkansas and Alabama. It's Alabama's playing at home. Alabama still has things to prove. They have to keep winning and winning well. They've got to win that Iron Bowl game, and then they've to be ready to face Georgia in the SEC championship. I think Alabama can do the 20.5. You see Alabama cover some big numbers against some good teams all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know, man. I mean that I think that number is just too perfect. You know what I mean? 21, I think 24, could be the number that Alabama could cover, but it's going to be interesting, to see how that works. Another game, dude, I'm looking forward to, and I know a lot of people just kind of poo-pooing this game, but man, SMU and Cincinnati. Again, we keep on rooting. We keep on, like basically saying that Cincinnati, should be in the playoffs, but this game, man. This game is going to mean something. This game
I'm calling the shot. SMU is going to win this one.
I think SMU can pull it off. I really do.
I think so too.
I think SMU has the better quarterback.
I definitely think SMU is going to win this one. I'm calling the shot right now. I think they're going to pull the upset on this one. So
yeah, I agree.
I think SMU has a chance because this Cincinnati team, even though they're 9-0, those 9 wins have not looked great. And I'm on record of saying if I was picking the top 4 to play in the college football playoff, Cincinnati is one of my teams. But they've played a lot of tight games. They've played a lot of close games, closer games than any of those other top 4 teams right now have. And this SMU team is not a bad team.
For sure.
And they can. And I think Cincinnati's a little scared.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to move over to NFL. Okay.
Awesome.
Big night tonight. We've got the Patriots. Patriots in Atlanta tonight, but game I'm really looking forward to. Not that I'm biased or anything, you know what I mean? But the Bears Ravens, let's get into it. We've got a special guest on, Melissa Kim, who happens to be the broadcaster with the Baltimore Ravens. She's going to come on right now. Melissa Kim, welcome to Motion Sports. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, this is it's an honor and privilege to have you join us.
Oh, stop! Thank you.
Actually, it totally is our honor and privilege. You are the first true guest that we've ever got to welcome onto Motion Sports Network. So, Melissa Kim, welcome to Motion Sports Network.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Great. We're glad to have you.
Tell us about yourself, who you are, and basically how'd you grow up in this industry?
Sure. I ended up in sports kind of on accident, to be honest with you. I did an internship during college, actually with Jerry Sandusky and Pete Gilbert from WBL TV, who I'm sure Baltimore people know very well.
Yes.
They have been lovely to me over the last more than a decade or so, kind of brought me back to Baltimore in a way. But yeah, I was a political science major at Johns Hopkins. I had no inclination of going to journalism at all.
Wow.
Until I did that internship, and I was like, wow, you can do this for a living. Cool.
Right.
So from there, I was on the assignment desk and a news producer at a 24-hour cable station in New York City after college, because I wanted to move to New York and be 20-something with all my girlfriends. Nice. And from there, I was a writer at NBC Sports during the Olympics. And then I went to Bangor, Maine for my first on-air job, which is a lovely, lovely place, Market 155. And from there, I went to Birmingham, Alabama, Madison, Wisconsin, and then now back to Baltimore. But born and raised in LA, but my family moved to Baltimore when I was a junior in high school. So I have some Baltimore roots too.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's a heck of a resume. That's all over the place. That's great.
Yeah, it's definitely been a culture, lots of culture shocks, lots of different climates. But that's the beauty of this business. If you want to see the country and live anywhere and everywhere, you really do have that opportunity to do so.
Well, Wisconsin will definitely shock you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
especially
the weather. The Midwest is certainly, it's not for the faint of heart. There were 2 polar vortexes when I lived there, so the wind chill was like -50.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. Madison is such a great college sports town because you cover the Badgers,
sure,
but you also cover the Packers and obviously the Bucks and Brewers. And I've been very fortunate in my career that the teams that I've covered and where I've lived, everyone's been pretty good. I mean, Alabama and Auburn, my first year there was the Kick 6 game. Obviously,
gosh.
Yeah, and
wow.
so I was on the field for that. That was my introduction into SEC football.
Well, that's coming up next week. We were just talking about that, the Iron Bowl.
Yes, oh my God. College football is my bread and butter. I grew up, my father was a professor at USC, and my mother and her family, hardcore UCLA people, they still have season tickets to football games to this day at the Rose Bowl. So that's I really love great rivalries because that's kind of like how else can you make people love each other and hate each other that are strangers?
So you agree with me? Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back, right?
100%.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with that. 2005, like, listen, Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush did something very special while
Magical.
they were at USC. It was very
Magical.
magical up until that 2005 Rose Bowl with Vince Young, but we're not going to talk about that.
Correct. No.
But
Now, UCLA, you have Josh Rosen and all those guys. Those guys can go away.
I don't really like them. Yeah, they're not really like my cup of tea. Anybody in Bruins below is like not
Yeah.
really my cup of tea. It's fine. But no, I think great rivalries are such a magical thing because they bring strangers together and make people hate each other. So I think that
Agreed.
I've been very fortunate to cover some pretty great rivalries in my career.
It's like me and my brother have a love-hate relationship when these Bears and Ravens kind of get together every 4 years. So,
Yeah. It's pretty
I know
cool.
I know here you're talking about the Ravens, but you think Urban Meyer is going to go to USC?
No.
You don't think so?
No, absolutely not. I think that, a lot of college coaches, I feel like they have to do their stint in the pros, right? And they want to be
Right.
successful in
Like
the
Nick
pros.
Saban and all
Right.
these
Nick
other
Saban obviously was not one of those people. But then, he works for the college formula. He's great at Alabama. He's alive and he has a statue of himself on, outside the stadium, which I think is
No
kind of
doubt.
weird. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah, he does. It's a gigantic. It's bigger than Bear Bryant's statue, which I think is also. There's an argument like who's the greter coach, whatever. But
I'd have to
again,
give Nick Saban.
yeah,
in today's environment.
tough problem to have when you're an Alabama football fan, right?
No question.
But I really think that there are certain coaches just made for college and certain coaches just made for pros. That's kind of just the way it is. And I think that Nick Saban, the way that he nurtures kids and he really does care, behind the scenes and stuff, and really guides a lot of these kids. I think that he's more well suited for college. Urban Meyer, I think the jury's still out on him. I'm like interested to see like how the rest of the season goes for him. So
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if he survives this year. I don't know if he goes back to college, but after this whole ordeal with his,
yeah,
this fling he
off-the-field
had in Ohio
controversies,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, he just, I don't think the players respect him. I really don't. And once you lose the locker room like that, your team is done. Now
Yeah.
they've been playing better
though,
recently.
since the since the incident.
This is
So
true.
Yeah, but
they beat up on Buffalo pretty good there. So
yeah, but they have to play for their name on tape, right? The tape doesn't lie. So
Sure.
yeah, everybody's gonna have these good games. But let's get into the Ravens game, Melissa. This is gonna be. Look, I'm a Bears fan. There's no hiding it. I'm not gonna basically hide my fandom.
That's
But
okay.
this is going to be a tough game for Chicago. Now, last time these two teams have played was back in 2017. We actually were in Baltimore. That was a great game, by the way. But you've got a different beast on your hands. You got Lamar Jackson. They're coming off a loss on Thursday night. They've got a little bit of time to rest, a little bit of time to heal. Chicago is off a bye week as well. Matt Nagy is 0-4 off a bye week. Okay. He's had to play San Francisco. He's had to play the Green Bay Packers. He's had to play the LA Rams. And now he's going to be playing, the Baltimore Ravens. So he's played some quality opponents. But this Ravens team, I feel, is a very dangerous game for the Chicago Bears. Now, one thing we're seeing is the growth, an exponential growth of Justin Fields, right?
Yes.
This kid, I hope to God they're not going to treat him like they did Mitch Trubisky. The Bears have been a cancer for quarterbacks. It's been a graveyard for quarterbacks. But Justin Fields, I think, is different. And I actually compare Justin Fields a lot to what Lamar Jackson went through the first year. Talk about the Ravens. Talk about, what happened last week and then what your expectations going into this game is going to be.
Yeah, I will preface this by saying I have watched the Bears for the last 4 years while I was covering the Packers. I literally just came to Baltimore this past season. So I'm very familiar with the NFC North and the ongoings in that division. Yeah. But in terms of Baltimore, Lamar Jackson is a guy that they drafted and they built an offense around him, which you think about, that happened, 5 years ago. That was an unheard of concept at that point. Like, you're going to literally build an entire team around one guy who's literally 20, 21 years old. But they've proved that it works. They've really harped on the fact that he can be a dual threat. And I think that's something that Lamar himself, there's definitely there was a chip on his shoulder involved, I think. And because, this is an NFL quarterback, these guys have, they want to prove something. There's an ego involved. And so he really did put in the work this past season. And during the off season and all throughout training camp, he said that himself, that he really made an effort this season to be able to throw the ball more, to make sure that nobody was, harping on his passing game, because that's probably one of his biggest criticisms, as we all know, that he's a running back, which they do not say here in Baltimore. A dynamic dual threat quarterback is the phrase, not running back. And so I think that he's really proved a lot of the haters wrong this season. I know that, there was a lot of chatter, about whoever, one of the national people had said, our teams have figured Lamar Jackson out. What does that even mean? I mean, I don't really know. Like, one guy can't be so one-dimensional that his entire football game has been figured out, right? So I think that what he has done this season has been quite magical. It's been very special to watch for sure. And it's created a model, honestly, for other quarterbacks in the NFL. When you look at, this has really become in the last, like, I'm going to say 5, 6, 7 years, kind of a younger guys quarterback league, right? You look at him, you look at Kyler, you look at, Mahomes, you look at Baker Mayfield. And now, now Justin Fields too. I think Justin Fields is really freaking awesome. I think he has the potential to be a Lamar Jackson type of player for sure. They've talked a lot about this week, the quarterback comparisons with these two, because they're younger guys who like to run the ball, who like to be a little bit more dynamic, who like to control the offense and control the game in that sense. But I think that Chicago is one, hopefully, if he doesn't get the Mitchell Trubisky treatment, Chicago has something really special in their hands too to watch in the next couple of years.
Well, like you said, Matt Nagy is doing exactly opposite what John Harbaugh is doing. The problem is they are trying to build a system to Matt Nagy's system and trying to get Justin Fields acquainted to that system. And I can't tell you how frustrating it was when his first started game. They had only 2 snaps without having an empty backfield. They didn't protect this kid. He got slaughtered. And I mean, you lose the confidence in him. Finally, they started adding protections. We had our first 2 tackles that we drafted in this year's draft go out. Larry Borum and Tevin Jenkins are out. Finally, Larry Borum comes back, but they have not protected this kid. And, Nagy just leads these quarterbacks out to dry, and they don't let them use their talents. Finally, when Nagy stopped calling plays and Bill Lazor started calling plays, they started developing a system around Justin Fields. And you can see, even though they lost in Steelers, which Bears got completely jobbed, let's just be honest, with the refereeing going on right there. But Justin Fields drove him down the field, left some time on the clock, and unfortunately, things happened there with the refs at the end. But he is starting to show potential. And we all kind of have to remember, I put a poll out, Melissa, in the beginning of the year. Would you rather see Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback and the Bears go 11-6 through the year and us make the playoffs? Or would you rather see Justin Fields be the quarterback and us go like 4-13 and see the development of Justin Fields? And overwhelmingly, people said, I'd rather take a 4-13 year and see Justin Fields develop. Troy Aikman did it. Peyton Manning did it. They've got to take their lumps and they've got to grow. But this game scares me because I was looking at some stats here. The Ravens, this is do or die. This is playoffs or nothing for the Chicago Bears. Okay. I mean, we're 3-6. We're terrible. But the problem is the Ravens are second in total offense, total yards. And the Bears are 31st in total defense. So, I mean, total offense. We're 31st in total offense. The Ravens are second. Defense, the Bears are 12th, which is not too bad. But we also don't have Khalil Mack. We just signed Bruce Irvin to do an edge rush. And the Ravens are actually 24th. So this could be, again, if Justin Fields develops into a dynamic passer, which we think we could, this could be his breakout game for good and really beat, I think, a quality opponent in Chicago.
So let me throw out a stat for you, Greg. This is via NBC Sports. Lamar Jackson is 25-2 against teams he's never played before. The Bears, he's never played before.
Oh, Lord.
But the one thing, if the Bears take a script out of what Cincinnati, what Miami did against Lamar and do the zero coverage defense, and if Greg Romans doesn't have a plan like he didn't have last week, this could be a long game for Lamar if they keep him contained and everything else. I mean, that's the defense that San Diego did in the playoffs, I guess, was it 2 years ago, and they just don't have an answer for it. That's what I'm worried about. How about you, Melissa?
Yeah, I think that if Matt Nagy was paying attention last week, he's going to go complete blitz heavy on the Ravens this week. That obviously worked from Miami last week. I think that in terms of Justin Fields, what he's going to get out there, the defense for the Ravens has, unfortunately for Ravens fans, has been extremely inconsistent this season. I think that they've had some great games, like against the Chargers, they played a very complete game. A couple other teams, they played very complete games. But then, like, the ones that stand out to me where they didn't was, against, like, last week, the Dolphins, atrocious. And I think that the consistency really has to be. I think Calais Campbell multi 13-year veteran of this league, has said that is their biggest issue right now is consistency. And the thing that I really love about this Ravens team too is that they really do like own their mistakes. They literally say right away, like Mark Andrews told us yesterday, he's like, losing sucks. Like, I mean, there's just no other way to like put it, you know what I mean? And so I think that the defense has to play consistently. I think Lamar, he has been out for did not practice today. Didn't see him in practice yesterday either. He's been out with an illness. So he's been sick. And so there's definitely some kind of like bug going around. I think Rashad Bateman also out today. Bradley Bozeman came back today. He didn't practice yesterday, but he's like, guys, I just have a regular cold. Like, we can still get like regular sick right now, Right. And so, because I think there's a lot of attention obviously on COVID. But I think that they just need to get healthy. I think Lamar needs to be able to throw for, he's been averaging, I think, about 275 yards passing per game this season. If he can get over that threshold in the 300, I think that's a pretty solid, formula for the Ravens to win. I think that, a couple of these, Mark Andrews is obviously going to be his like solid guy no matter what. Hollywood has improved, I think, steadily over the season. Marquise Hollywood
since
Brown.
that 3 drop touchdown performance that he had. I mean,
he's gone off.
Sure. Yeah, he has. He's absolutely
that number one that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. And he's talked about a little bit after that injury last year. He's been a little. You can tell he was a little more like gingerly catching the ball towards the beginning of the season, would just catch it and fall to the ground. Now he's really picking up those yak yards. He really has made a significant improvement, I think, in the last 3 weeks or so. And he said that he's like, I'm not like afraid of like my injury anymore. Not that he was like afraid, but a little more cautious. He's not. He like really makes an effort to go down the field now after he catches the ball. I think Rashad Bateman, I love Rashad Bateman. I think he's such a, you can tell his technique right away is he like brings the ball into his chest. And I think 13 of his 14 catches so far have been for a first down. So he is that playmaker guy. He's going to get down the field as much as he can. So, and some of the catches that he's made have been like absolutely ridiculous too. You know what I mean? It's a very tiny sliver where Lamar can only make that throw and Rashad can only make that catch.
And Duvernay has proved to make those catches as well. So that touchdown last week was incredible.
He's been an unsung hero. I think he's a little like under the radar a little bit, but he's definitely coming into his own for sure.
Yeah, the problem is Bears secondary. I mean, the only real guy we have is Jalen Johnson. We got rid of Kyle Fuller last year. We don't have that other cornerback to be able to help. Also, Eddie Jackson has been absolutely pathetic this year. He's hurt. He's not going to probably play this game. So, I mean, we are Swiss cheese in the backfield. So Lamar's going to pick these guys apart. Now, even if they get the rush, even if they get the blitz, I think they can just dink and dump over the top of these linebackers, and it's just going to be a wide open field for these guys. It scares me to death. One stat I do want to say this is because, I mean, the Ravens secondary is also not that good.
Without Deshaun Elliott, it's a totally different.
Yeah, and like, especially with like Marlon, like, Marlon Humphrey, he kind of is like, been one of those inconsistent guys as well, I think, this season. He's had like some great games, and then he's had some games where it's kind of like, what are you doing right now?
Right.
And I think that communication has been such a big thing for this defense, I think, because you can tell like when they're like on point and then when they're not on point, because when they're not on point, like the ball's already snapped and they're still like talking to each other and nobody knows, like, there's misassignments. So it's been really consistent. Either like they're like, on point and they've got their guys, or like they have no idea where what's happening and somebody's completely left. I think that happened last week. Like someone was left completely uncovered and scores a big play. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that in Chicago time and time again. One of the stats that kind of blew me away. Justin Fields leads all active quarterbacks in yards per pass caught with 9.1 yards in the NFL. They're 31st ranked offense, but yet he leads 9.1. Let this kid throw the freaking ball. Let this kid go. You know what I mean? If that's what the case is, I think if they do that and let these wide receivers like Allen Robinson, who is a $17 million guy that you have on your team, let him do his thing. Darnell Mooney, who can absolutely break the top off of a defense. They've got to let this guy run down the field. We got Marcus Goodwin that can absolutely break the top off a defense. They're afraid to let this kid use his talent, use his arm down the field. I think they're starting to figure this out. They have to do that against the Ravens. This is going to be a shootout. I do think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be like one of these 31-24 games, maybe, And
what can David Montgomery do? Ravens aren't the best against the run. If they do that, that extension of the short passing game with David Montgomery, he could have a very good game.
For sure.
So we'll see. But I think Roquan for Chicago is going to have a huge game. He's going to be eyeing Lamar all night long, and we'll see how
speed for speed. I think he's one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL. Absolutely. He's going to have to spy Lamar. but I just don't see it for Chicago. I just don't see it. I think here's the deal. The Ravens, we're going to give them a pass last week. They went on a absolute physical, brutal game against Minnesota, which they won in overtime. And then Thursday night, right after that, that overtime game, they had to go play the Miami Dolphins in Miami. They did lose. So, I've seen Miami beat the Patriots at home. I've seen, them beat some Buffalo Bills at home. I've seen them beat some quality opponents, in the last couple of years down in Miami. Even now, I'm not making excuses, but even Lamar Jackson said, who's from Miami, the heat got to him. The heat got to him. And, that's not going to happen in Chicago. So
no, it is not.
it's not. So I think that the Ravens, I foresee the Ravens, doing some damage here. I really do. I'm sure the team's confident in that as well.
Yeah, I think so too. And, especially coming off a loss that poor, I think that the guy, they'll be rearing to go. And the great thing about this year, we thought about that after talking a little big picture, we thought about that after the brutal loss on Thursday, but we turn around like after Sunday and they're still first place in the AFC North. This year I feel like across the league, everybody is beatable. You can't really you can pinpoint maybe here are the top 5 teams right now, but to pick someone right now that you're like, okay, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think it's definitely very up for debate right now. So that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
I agree.
Melissa, I'm sorry. The one thing I want to ask you here, Melissa,
sure.
The teams, the players will never look ahead, but we in the sports world, we get to. So as I'm doing that here, I'm gonna look at this week and the next 7 weeks. 5 of the next 8 games for the Ravens are versus AFC North teams, and you've got Chicago this week, and your other 2 where you're going to go outside of your division, Green Bay and the Rams. If something bad happens and the Ravens do stumble this weekend, your next 8 weeks are going to look pretty tough. Anybody has a chance in that division, even Cleveland without Baker Mayfield, that you'll see twice. Pittsburgh, are you gonna count Pittsburgh out in a Baltimore Pittsburgh game? So talk about where's the rest of their season going to go for them with a win or with a loss?
Look, it's definitely going to be a grind when you mention all that. Listen, it's all in the back of our minds, right? What the rest of the season looks like. And they know, the rest of the season is going to be a grind for sure, because even the non-divisional opponents, are really great teams. So the Packers coming here and they're going to LA. But I think that really, in this situation, again, I hate to be the trite, coach talk, whatever, 1 week at a time, but you really have to in this scenario because of how the schedule's laid out. And as for the Steelers, I don't think that you can ever count a Steelers-Ravens game out, because it's it is one of those great rivalries. It's like an Alabama-Auburn. It's like a USC-UCLA. It's a Packers-Bears.
3 points or less. They're always going to make the line 3 points.
Exactly. And especially with how they played against the Bengals earlier this season. And again, the Browns and Ravens were my top 2 picks coming into this season. Even without Baker Mayfield, they still have weapons, and they've proved that time and time again. So I think that this division is extremely, extremely competitive this year.
Absolutely.
And as for the Packers, I've circled that Packers game on my calendar since the beginning of the season now, obviously, because I'm really excited to see the Packers come here, a team that I've covered for 5 years before I came here. But to see,
I'm rooting for the Ravens that game, by the way, Melissa.
Okay, good to know. But especially with how Aaron Rodgers, has kind of had this situation this season, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when they come here, and with Aaron Jones playing as well as he has this season as well. I think that it is going to be Coach Harbaugh has, addressed the rest of the season is wow, you know what I mean? He has definitely mentioned that, not directly, but you can tell that he's thought about it. He's seen it at least, but it certainly is going to be literally just have to focus on it 1 week at a time.
That's all you can do. It's coach talk, but it's so true.
Yeah.
They got to play the Bears Sunday. That's all the game that they need to worry about.
That really matters. Right
Melissa, we know you got to go. Thank you so much. How can people get in contact with you on your social media platforms?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm on Melissa Y. Kim. That's my handle on Twitter and as well as Instagram. So try to put in as much Ravens content as I can most of the time, along with like other fun stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for having me, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
we hope
you.
to have you on very soon.
Yes. Have
Thanks,
fun.
Melissa. Have a great one.
Great.
Take
Thanks
care.
a lot.
Thank you for joining
Bye.
us. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Melissa Kim, everybody. She was
Man,
great.
you got it. You got an awesome guest for the show's first ever guest. Man, she knocked it out of the park. I was doing some research on her earlier. Listened to her on another show. Man, she knows her Ravens up one side and down the other.
She knows her stuff, man. That's great. Again, thank you again, Melissa, for joining us. That was awesome, guys. That it's gonna be one of those games, man. Again, I'm worried about, but again, look, we're at home. The only thing I can say is, Chicago's got their work cut out for them. They know how to beat the Ravens, though. They do. They've beat them in times past, but again, this is a whole different team, and I was a little worried about it, man. One other dude, guys, tonight we have let's just talk about it real quick. New England and Atlanta. Atlanta is 7.5 point underdogs at home. I mean, that equates. You usually get 3 points for being at home. In a sense, on a neutral field, they're about 10.5 point underdogs.
That is the build and the progression of Mac Jones with the Patriots. Preseason, I was like, okay, I want to see him, especially when he beat Cam Newton out for that starter role. They had to know something there in New England, and man, he doesn't look like a rookie quarterback this season at all.
No, he doesn't, and he's on prime time now, man. All eyes are going to be on Mac Jones, dude. And like everybody says, it's between him and Justin Fields as the better quarterbacks out of this whole deal. I mean, Zach Wilson looks like trash. Trevor Lawrence is still
you even go back a year or two, and Tagovailoa should have progressed, but he can't stay on the field.
Well, no, he can't. Yeah, exactly.
Mayfield looks like he's maybe coming back a little to earth a little bit. Kyler Murray is, I think, going to turn into a star there himself. And as Melissa was saying, and we talked about this, how the Ravens built an offense around Jackson. If the Bears do that with Fields, that they could be a special team
for sure. So guys, I'm actually picking Atlanta to cover with the over, man. I mean, that's my play tonight. I've got Atlanta. I mean, this NFL season has been absolute unpredictable. And, the Falcons are probably the best 4-5 team I've ever seen, except for, I mean, they're just Jekyll and Hyde, man. They just don't know when to show up. They got trounced against Dallas last week. But a week beforehand, they were throwing up points all over the place. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. They're so inconsistent. But I think it's one of these games that being on prime time, 7.5 point underdogs at home, I'm going to take the points, man.
I'm going to take New England on this one, and for the reason why they're getting Damian Harrison back for one. Atlanta's without Cordell Patterson, who's their biggest weapon. Mike Davis hasn't done anything. They got Gallman now starting, which he's not going to do very much.
Yeah.
Gage is going to have the game of his life in order for Atlanta to win this game. Matt Ryan just doesn't have it as much as he used to without Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
This is going to be a blowout for New England.
I don't think so. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I do. I think that what they did last week, I think they're looking to build off of that, and I think that they have the ability to do that. And this Falcons team is fair to mediocre. Or mediocre to fair. I don't know which one would be better or worse than. I just don't think so. And let's. I think there's been too many good Thursday night games this year. It's time to have a nice big blowout.
For sure. Well, I mean, again, we'll see, man. We'll see. Indianapolis and Buffalo. That's gonna be another good game at Buffalo, dude. The weather not so great coming up this weekend. This kind of nor'easter storm coming for throughout the weekend there in Buffalo, man. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that happens. But in Indianapolis, look, they're kind of used to that weather, man. So they know how to play out in terrible weather. I don't know, dude. I'm not sure. Buffalo hasn't been playing great lately. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen here. And Carson Wentz, you got to remember where this kid's from, right? He's used to playing up in ridiculous weather, So I think it was like South Dakota or something like that, right?
North Dakota State,
North Dakota,
North
something like
Dakota,
that.
whatever it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then Green Bay and Minnesota. Green Bay's hurt, man. How much really can Aaron Rodgers carry this team, constantly through this injury? I mean, Aaron Jones is gone. Their offensive
He
line
showed
is in
he could do
shambles.
it all, so far all season with not a great supporting cast around
all
him.
career.
Well,
all
okay.
career.
I think he's had some good teams there, but maybe it's the week that it catches up with them. They're only a 1.5 dogs to the Vikings.
Yeah.
And hey, Vegas knows some stuff from time to time.
They do sometimes. Yeah, they know what's going on, man. And the public, obviously, they're sometimes the public's right, man. So
one of the more interesting lines. How about the Texans and the Titans? The Titans have not blown out the poor opponents that they've faced this year. And to take the Texans and get 10, that's I think Tennessee's going to win it, but maybe by 6.
What's the point on that one?
I can see Texas covering that
10. It's
10?
10. Yeah, it's 10.
That's
10
a
at
big
home.
number.
It's a big number, but I tell you, man, the Titans are playing. I think
they're playing good, but they're not playing great.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
It's the defense that's carrying that team right now.
Give me your top 5 NFL teams.
Well, my number 1 team right now is the Titans. I'm
okay.
Absolutely, it's the Titans. It's the Packers. I'd put the Cowboys up there as say my 3rd best team.
Arizona should be your number 1.
No, I like the things that are going on in Tennessee more than Tennessee loses their best player, hasn't lost since. Arizona loses their best player, hasn't won since. So that's that. So they'd go in my top. I think I've named you 4. My 5th best team. I don't know. I think you've got 4, and then you've got 5 or 6 that are going to vie for that 5th position with the Bills and the Buccaneers.
We're all over the place. Like my first, and I hate to say this as a Bears fan, I've got Packers 1, Titans 2, Cards 3, Buccaneers 4, Cowboys 5, and Bills 6. So I mean that's my power ranking, so to speak, of NFL teams right now. But again, that all changes from week to week to week, man. But I mean, Sam, me and you are kind of like on the same page there, man. You could probably, I don't know. I mean, you could probably flip flop some of those. I think if the Packers and Titans play, I think the Packers can beat them. I mean, that's just how I look at it.
If the Packers and Titans played, that would be one that my butt would be sitting there to watch the whole thing, because that thing would be close. I don't think that Tennessee has really showed too much other than the bad Jets loss, but every team has a bad loss this season. So I wouldn't necessarily give the Packers that much of the edge in that game. I kind of like Tennessee in that game.
For sure, guys. Ohtani is now the AL MVP, and Bryce Harper wins the NL MVP.
Yeah, so I saw that right before we came on that Soto comes in second in MVP voting behind Harper. I don't have Harper's stats off the top of my head here, but your top 2 NL vote getters, and then your AL MVP as well. None of those players make the playoffs.
No. Where did Trey Turner finish in the NL? If you have that,
I don't know, Drew. Let me see here.
Let's go and find.
He had the highest batting average, doubles, steals.
He's not the sexy RBI home run guy.
Right.
I like the bunt for hit and walk and steal base kind of guy.
It was Harper, Soto, Tatis.
Tatis missed half the season. So
and fourth was Turner.
Not bad for, like I said, the unsexy non-home run hitter of the
Right.
group.
Two nationals, by the way, guys, in the top
2
5.
former nationals.
Yeah, actually 3 former nationals in the top 5. In the top 5. So there you go. I mean, that just goes to show you what's going on. Yeah. But I mean, that's what that. I guess that's a question too, Sam. Should playoff positions and taking your team to the playoffs matter in the MVP vote?
In baseball, I believe less so than the other sports,
I agree.
because even though baseball has tried to expand the playoffs here in recent years, you still have very few teams that are going to make the playoffs. And I mean, I'm still trying to dig Harper's stats up. I have the slowest computer to try and find any stats like that. But they've got to be good for him to win the MVP. And when you go to the playoffs, advance in the playoffs, win in the World Series, as Atlanta showed, it's more of a team thing than an individual player, more often than not. So a lot of times I think in baseball, your MVP can come from anywhere. Not necessarily. I don't think you should only be looking at your playoff teams.
No, I agree. I mean, look, you know as much as I know, pitching is what really drives these teams, your starting pitching, but you can't have a starting pitcher be your MVP because, I mean, he's not an everyday player, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so much determinant on that. And, I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to justify, that you have to have a player that's in the playoffs to be an MVP guy because there's so much out of his control. With the pitching and everything else that goes on, man. I mean, all he can do is do his thing, man, and if the rest of the players suck around him, then what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But take a look at someone like Vlad Guerrero in, Toronto. Why wouldn't someone like that do it? I mean, he pretty much carried that whole Blue Jays team on his back to almost making the playoffs.
Okay, but he wasn't anywhere close to Ohtani, man. Ohtani was he had one of the historic seasons.
Right,
ever.
for a pitcher batter, absolutely. But
yeah, Vlad Guerrero was second. I mean, he actually had 269 MVP votes, which is huge. I'm sorry, total votes. Yeah, 30. Ohtani had 420. Simeon from Blue Jays, his teammate, was third. Aaron Judge was fourth, and Carlos Correa from Houston was fifth. So Ohtani absolutely blew away the votes.
The Major League Baseball awards are voted on by baseball writers, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you see every year how crazy baseball writers are with their Hall of Fame stuff. So you know that they're going to be all over the page with these ML or MVP Cy Young votes.
Yeah. Well, AL Cy Young, it's going to be Robbie Ray. I mean, you've got to. Is that even a question? I mean, Robbie Ray did win. Yeah, he won the Cy Young.
Okay.
So Garrett Cole was second. Lance Lynn was third. Nathan Eovaldi was fourth, and Carlos Rodon was fifth in the AL.
So I've dug up some Bryce Harper stats, and he hit 308, and I think it said 32 home runs. But he's not he only had 84 RBI, which is not in the top 50 RBI in the National League. And while I'm on the topic of RBI, the plural of RBI is RBI, not RBIs.
Yeah, RBIs. Yes,
right.
Thank you very much.
It's runs batted in, not runs
yes.
batted ins.
Thank you.
So on the show, the correct pronunciation of the plural of RBI is RBI.
Corbin Burns wins the NL Cy Young. Burns, then Zach Wheeler. Max Scherzer finished third. Man, I thought Scherzer was going to actually be second. I don't know, man. I don't know what people are thinking. Scherzer had one of his career years as a pitcher. Now, he did get moved from Nationals to Dodgers. The Nationals weren't that great a team, but it wasn't Scherzer's fault. So, but Burns wins. I mean, I think Burns had the best year by far, and Walker Buehler finishes fourth. So, there's your winners, guys. So, interesting. I think it was a pretty good year in baseball, man. I really do. Now, guys, the problem with baseball now, we got a situation at hand to where we might have work stoppage again. We might have a work stoppage again. Yeah. Ray Manfred is not the guy to negotiate this arbitration. I'm sorry. He's just not. The players union is going to walk all over these guys. And so they've already done it. You know what I mean? They've already done it.
You can think that the Players Association is going to walk all over them, but the problem is they don't have the money. They don't hold the purse strings. That's the owners. And
but what else? Let me ask you this: what else can the players demand from the owners that they don't already have? They've got guaranteed contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Their contracts are getting pushed out to 5 to 10 years. They're holding these owners at hostage. The payrolls are outrageous. What's going on in Major League Baseball? What else could these freaking players want?
I honestly, I don't. I couldn't tell you. And you know, with it going that well, I'm guessing a larger share, but they don't even have like a real salary cap, salary floor thing.
Yeah, I mean, the league average is 57% of total revenues goes to the playoffs. Players. I mean, if I had a 57% payroll, I'd be out of business.
Right now, you have a 0% payroll, don't you?
But you know, one thing with the players.
Hold on. Honey, did my check come in today?
I do. Yes.
No. Yeah, that check still didn't arrive.
Hey, accountant, how much revenue came in so far? It's the same amount we've been paying. Okay.
So you're saying I got paid as much as you're taking in, huh? Man, I'm doing great over here.
But one thing y'all may or may not have known as who the Players Association hired to represent them during this lockout is Scott Boras. He's now the leading. I guess the front man for the Players Association to work out this negotiation.
It'll never get done.
He's going to milk those owners for every single thing, and it's going to be an absolute disaster.
Here's the deal. If you want it to make it so to where it's a percentage-based revenue product, okay, not so much holding these to a certain number, I'm okay with that because as the income increases, so should the players' salaries increase, right? I mean, if you say we're going to do a standard of 55% of the revenues come in from Major League Baseball as a whole, okay, I mean, now these teams can delegate their monies to wherever they want to, but as a whole, let's say if they make $1 billion, then $550 million should go back to the players, okay? If that's what you want to do, so be it, okay? But I think it should be TV contract revenue only, and the team should have the right once they sign these players to use their likeness to generate revenue to help pay their salaries above and beyond the TV revenue contracts. I think that the teams live in a capitalist society. They have every right to hold, whatever means of generating revenues through merchandise or, hot dogs or drinks or whatever. They should be able to, and ticket sales, all that stuff. Ticket sales, be honest with you, are a very minor portion of what the Major League Baseball revenue is. It's all TV revenue based. If I was the owners, I would hold steadfast and say, you know what, guys, we'll give you 55%, okay, but it's gonna be based on TV revenue only.
And I don't think the players are going to take that. But Drew, when you said there that with Boras leading the negotiations, the first thing that kind of popped in my mind is the luxury tax. Owners would love to get rid of the luxury tax. Boras would love for that luxury tax to go away. If that luxury tax isn't there, then his players can go and they can all go sign with the Yankees when the Yankees give everybody $50 million a year. For 15 years. So it's is he negotiating really in the player's best interest, or is he negotiating his best interest?
That's
well,
exactly right.
Obviously, look, it's going to come down to, I mean, and like you said, I think that is in itself a conflict because obviously the more revenue his players get, the more revenue he gets, and then you have a conflict there. And having Boras there is obviously driven, totally for his empire. But to have an arbitrator that is in the player's best interest, I don't think it can be an agent. You know what I mean? I think it needs to be an arbitrator, an arbitrator. You know what I mean? That like a DeMaurice Smith. You know what I mean? He doesn't represent anybody in particular individually, but he does, represent players as a whole. And now I'm not a DeMaurice Smith fan, by the way. I mean, he's something else with the NFL.
Do you think a cap would actually help?
The players will never go for a cap.
No, they never will. No, absolutely.
Once you uncap, you could never cap.
Yeah.
And they've never capped. They've never capped to begin with, so they're never going to take it.
Right.
Damn headphones.
Yeah, I mean, it would make that sport so much better because I'm tired of seeing the Dodgers. I'm tired of seeing the Yankees. I'm tired of seeing the Red Sox.
Well, you get Tampa every few years, and in a decent Oakland team, and Washington did it their way in 2019. It's these teams are. You can only pay so many people, and Washington decided they didn't want to pay Harper, and that they spent their money elsewhere. Results didn't go their way this year, so they shed some of that salary with an attempt to rebuild a farm system, and they could be coming back here just real soon.
Mm-hmm. And they don't even have a floor, do they?
No, there's no floor either.
I think that's what they're trying to offer here. But again, I mean, it's going to be nasty. I mean, and quite frankly, look.
Because every baseball negotiation has been nasty. Why wouldn't you expect this one to be as well?
100%. And here's the deal. Like back before, remember the steroid area, it was really bad. I mean, it was just nasty. But to be honest with you, in today's world, I don't think the players have that kind of leverage that they did back before the steroid era because people don't care if they walk out or not. They're not going to – people are not going to care because you have football, because you have football coverage 24/7. You've got all these different things.
Was it 94 that we lost the World Series?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And since then, the NFL was definitely making inroads into the American sports landscape, and it took over after that from baseball, the king sport, and baseball better be careful if they still believe that they're the number 2 sport in this country. Don't play baseball next spring and let all of America's eyes go on an improved NBA product and NHL, which is getting more eyeballs on it simply because of the ESPN ABC deal. You let those two sports go into their playoffs with no baseball around, and eyeballs are going to go there, and dollars follow eyeballs, and the dollars might not come back.
You're going to laugh at this, but you know what other sport is going to be coming right around the corner in the spring that everybody's kind of looking forward to?
The Kayak Fishing League.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Curling?
No, the Rocks XFL.
That's 2023.
It's not 22.
23.
No, it's 22.
23.
Oh, okay. My apologies. My apologies. I thought it was coming up.
The brothers argue about this, not about who's going to win the Bears-Ravens game. They argue about when the Rocks.
I thought it was 20. I thought it was 22.
No,
they can't agree on the score. Okay, but yeah.
2017 Ravens.
I tried to find a referee's shirt for
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I was a big Washington Defenders or DC Defenders guy, man. I mean,
yes, you were.
That was a big deal, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
The atmosphere was unbelievable. It's like hockey. I mean,
hey,
that picture
right in the middle of that.
That picture of me, you, Greg, with
the beer snake.
Well, that, and also the guy jumping in our arms, like right there. I mean, that's a famous, iconic picture for the Defenders. To my understanding, he just hired the new VP. Then they announced it was going to be 2023.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. I mean, anyway, regardless, I mean, like you said, the baseball cannot, they can't just do what they did in '94. I mean, if they walk out, honestly, people are not going to care.
Well, heck, the NFL is a year-round sport now. By the
It
time
is.
by the time you get to
The draft.
well, you've got the schedule release, the combine, the draft, all these things that, and then you have mini camps, all these things that have eaten into what baseball had because baseball gave them that opportunity. And,
XFL to return in 2023.
Okay. All right. Very good.
But go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
Oh no, I was done. What?
But yeah, I mean, it's
Especially for baseball to come off such a great season that they had, and a great playoffs and a great World Series for Atlanta to take there. But I don't think they care about shooting themselves in the foot.
No,
They've done it multiple times.
But also, what you notice with that spider tech, I mean, I know it's kind of like a smaller thing, but after that, I mean, every pitcher got absolutely annihilated because of the spin rate was so down. Pitchers weren't as dominant, and I think that's actually what the fans kind of wanted to see is more home runs with these juice baseballs, and that. I think they favor the players hitting homers over pitchers doing strikeouts. So,
I don't know. I think
disagree.
a lot of people Scherzer going mad dog after a strikeout.
Yeah,
that's
I like balanced baseball, man. I like it, to where it's, you have a pitcher's duel sometimes, and then sometimes you don't. I mean, and it all. I just like the purity of the sport, man. I don't like it leaning one way or another. I think a pitcher should have. If they're dominant, they should be able to show their dominance, not juicing up anything, you know what I mean? Or not, using sticky fingers or whatever it is, I mean? Yeah, I mean, but of course, if a batter has that talent, like I love watching Juan Soto. I mean, who doesn't, if he should have every opportunity to showcase his skills too, undoctored. Let's say.
And that's what I was kind of getting at is these pitchers had such an advantage over these hitters. You had kind of like a one-way, thing for the first half of the league until the spider tech stuff went away. Now it kind of leveled the playing field.
Yeah.
And I think they're actually talking about lowering the pitcher's mound like 2 or 3 inches to even it up even more, which will be interesting. So
yeah, I mean, they did raise it, I think, a couple of years ago, back in like 5 or 6 years ago.
After the Randy Johnson era, they kind of lowered it, I think, an inch or so. But
yeah, guys, Falcons Patriots are first quarter, 11:43 left. The Falcons have the ball on their own 4. So
right.
Good for them.
Yeah. So hey, I was just I didn't know how fast that we could be seeing some problems in Major League Baseball. The contract expires December 1st.
December 1st.
That's less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of breezing through an article here, and players are not happy about the average salary dropping post COVID as opposed to what it was pre-COVID.
Well, you know what? Every other business is like that, man. So they're not living in reality.
That's why I think. Well, I think that's how baseball players have been for since '94. They do 26 years of labor peace. It's been a contentious 26 years.
Well, I think the NFL. I think it went down $5-6 million in the cap. This year it's going to go up to 220. So that's the one sport that's actually benefiting from. This COVID because I think they're getting a whole new TV contract that's going to be.
Yeah, the NHL. I think their salary cap stayed even, but I mentioned it earlier, and I think the one thing that's going to be a boon to the NHL is getting back to ESPN. It's really funny, if you go to ESPN to try and dig up some sports news, if you just look at the carousel, I was a year ago, I'm a big NHL guy, so when I go to ESPN, I'm trying to find some NHL stuff. That it takes me a couple of extra clicks. Now on right here on the top, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL. They're listed, but last year they weren't there. You had soccer and NCAA football ahead of them. It's ESPN. It drives sports.
Well, the one thing that did with the NHL is they put some of their games on ESPN Plus, which that just drives a dagger right through me.
That hurt some people. When I think it was the third Caps game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was on ESPN Plus, but I said it here on the show that if check with your wireless provider. Verizon Wireless offers ESPN Plus free to all of their unlimited data customers as a part of a Disney
Sam,
Plus.
You could run a wireless, line out to my house, please. Thank you very much.
Wireless line will do. Gotcha.
Wireless line.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right, I'll be there in about 15 minutes.
Your drone.
Yes. I need to do some hardwire work. I was trying to move the studio out to the camper for Monday night's show, and it started working great, but then it all died. Wi-Fi just does not penetrate my camper walls.
I got you, man. I got you.
It'd be a great studio if I could get it to work, but
Falcons are punting now on their 5.
I was going to say this. Thanks.
Good yard, guys. Good yard.
Yeah,
we got a yard.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So hey, Greg, I was just talking to Drew there about NHL. How about Garnet Hathaway last night?
Awesome.
Scoring 2 for the Caps. It's 5 on the season for him.
You know what?
Secondary scoring and depth scoring is really starting to pay some dividends here with Washington.
You know, it's so funny. I literally had a parlay going, and one of the parlay legs, I was going to put Garnet Hathaway to score. That was going to be like a plus 380. Okay.
Ooh, dang.
Okay, but that was just for him. So
yeah.
But I changed it to a Kuznetsov power play point, and he got a point.
It wasn't a power play point.
Or wasn't a power play point.
Oh man,
stupid.
That's
anyway.
that's the stuff that's going to hurt you in gambling. Is you get a point, but it wasn't a power.
It was small. I mean, it's like $5. I mean, it's no
but I
big
tell you
deal.
what, that's 2 shutouts in 3 games now. Fakali and Vanacek last night with the shutouts. So
Vanacek last night or was Samsonov last night?
No, Samsonov last night.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, but
Caps look good, man. I mean, I'm happy with what they're. I mean, look, West Coast. I know they lost again. I told you they're going to lose against Anaheim. They did.
Yep.
It was in overtime.
Well, they still got a point.
Got a point.
I know, but they still lost in overtime, which is fine. They got a point, and then the Kings. I mean, they're not that bad of a team, but they did win 2-0, and then let's see, where do they go? They go to
San Jose Saturday before Seattle on Sunday.
I can't wait to see the Seattle Kraken game, man.
I'm not as excited about the Kraken. I think that
best uniforms in the NHL.
It's a good sweater.
It might be the best uniform ever for any sports team.
But they really got hosed by teams in the draft that didn't want to, a mistake of what they did and gave the players they gave to Vegas. So Seattle, it's a bottom feeding kind of year for
Vegas'
Seattle.
First year they went to the freaking Stanley Cup.
Right. Yeah.
But that talent pool was ridiculous.
It was definitely, and it was said that the teams did not want to see that happen with Seattle. They weren't going to give away good players.
And the NHL should not demand that. You know what I mean?
No.
They got to pay their dues. I mean, the Capitals had the worst ever expansion team in sports history. Like in sports history, they had the lowest winning percentage.
I think they had to have a whole Save Our Capitals campaign that they didn't.
They won 9 games out of 82.
Yeah. And it wasn't 74 the team started and didn't make the playoffs till early 80s. It was not good in Washington hockey.
No.
At the beginning.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Guys, we also have some Maction tonight going on. Trying to pull up some scores for all you guys out there.
Scores.
Let's see here. Oh, but it's why? Because it's
I got Friday's game. How come I don't show me today's game?
Yeah.
I'm looking at top 25. Yes. AAC, the American.
Yeah, there's a lot of games in the American League that's actually going to be really good.
Yeah, Americans taking this weekday game thing and running with it. I'm good.
Well, Maction historically, in the 11. Yeah. in the latter phases, so to speak, of the season. Always plays like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night game. And let me see here. Let me give you some scores. Louisville is beating Duke 21-6. That is
should be a blowout.
8 minutes left in the second quarter. And we have a game tonight. No, that's it. That's the only game tonight.
Yeah, that's our game
Louisville
tonight.
and Duke. Mm-hmm. Duke's terrible.
Yeah,
they were a bad football team for a long time. They had a couple decent years where they kind of came to life, but now it's not going well. And
they don't care about football as much. It's all basketball.
Basketball season has started for Duke.
Yeah, that's all they care about.
Yeah. No.
And this is Krzyzewski's final year, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
They got two freshmen that are something else. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up. Hey, how about Mason taking out Maryland?
Yeah, Mason's got a good team. Mason's got a good team.
Go Mason.
Yeah, Mason's got a strong team going.
Yeah, that was that Final Four run that Mason made. I would say that would probably have to rival the Capitol Stanley Cup win and the Nationals World Series win for what it did for this area, to bring this area together the way that it did.
Yeah, me and Greg had floor seats to that UConn game where they won that one.
Here in Washington.
Horizon Center. Yep.
And they also beat, was it UCLA?
They beat which
North Carolina was the second one.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we saw both those games, if I remember.
Yep, we did. Yep, we sure did. That was so much fun, dude.
Oh, it was amazing.
And then I came home and watched them go to the Final Four with about 1,500 people in my house. So it was.
And that was at Indianapolis, I think, right?
Yep.
Final Four in Indy.
Yep, for sure.
And I thought y'all flew down to that, didn't you? You and Sam?
No, so you went. I didn't go with you, Greg. You went to the Final Four game for.
I did. I went with. I went with a buddy of mine. I sure did. Guys, if you think you had a bad week, gambling, I want to show you something real quick. Anybody know who Darren Ravel is, right?
Mm-hmm. Darren Ravel, the name. I know he's big in the sports world somewhere.
Yeah,
somehow.
He's a sports.
What site he's with?
He's with I think Action Sports. But anyway, this is his week, guys. Look, check this out. This was his week last week. He went 0 for 6, lost $1,400, man. Look at this. Put $150 on Miami, lost. Had the under, lost. UVA. Look at these bets, man. Northwestern plus the cover, lost. He went to Northwestern, guys. That's why he betted that. Minus 450, 450, 350, 180. He was 0 for 6 last week, man. He says here, I ran into a buzzsaw today. It happens. I love it. You know what I mean? But it just goes to show you, man.
House always wins.
That's why I can't catch that gambling fever that so many other people have. I'm not smart enough. I don't trust myself enough. I don't trust the things that happen in all of these leagues enough.
Play the opposite then. I mean, if you don't trust yourself enough, play the opposite.
I look at something and I'm like, this is how it's going to go down. I know. And then I was like, oh wow, look, that wasn't even close.
It was like the Rams 49ers. You knew the Rams were going to win that game. It's like
absolutely, everyone knew the Rams were going to win that game.
Yeah, then all of a sudden the 49ers spanked them.
I think we went off the air and it was 14-7. The 49ers were up there.
Nuts.
I mean, you go back a couple of weeks, the Broncos laying the wood to the Cowboys.
Right.
And just this past weekend, who bet on Washington to
nobody
win that game?
Nobody.
Not a soul. Not a soul.
I think it was like 85% of the betting public had Tampa on the money line.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was like 60% that cover. I mean, Vegas needed Washington, and surprisingly enough, that happens a lot. You know what I mean?
House always wins.
That's they don't build these giant casinos and hotels because they lose money.
Except for Baccarat.
No doubt. Oh yeah.
Always bet on the dealer.
Yeah, no doubt. Guys, tomorrow night, man. I mean, tomorrow night, man. Mason and James Madison play each other, man. It's gonna be a good matchup. Two undefeated teams. JMU and GMU, the Virginia State rivals, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah,
and George Mason now it leads the A10. Rhode Island is undefeated, so is St. Bonaventure. So anyway, I'm a Mason alum. So
it's Mason's made 3 NCAA tournaments, I do believe.
They made one when I was in school.
Yeah, your senior year, because I remember, I can't remember the guy's name who was the leader of the team, but I remember at your graduation, he got a heck of applause and ovation on graduation night.
Yeah. But other than that, man, not too much.
Larinagas left. I don't think they've made it.
Yeah. Patriots now have the ball, 4th and 7 on the Atlanta 14. 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Looks like Patriots are going to be kicking a field goal.
How about Xavier beat number 19 Ohio State here tonight, 71-65.
Ohio State's not a good basketball team.
Xavier's always in that contention. I mean,
and I don't think Ohio State is a good football team. I think Ohio State's going to lose this week to Michigan State, and I think they're going to lose next week to Michigan.
Yeah. Xavier. Ohio State is not that great at all. Look, Kansas is only up 6 against some.
Yep. Saw that one there too.
Yeah, against Stony Brook, for God's sake.
Stony Brook. I give $1 to anybody who knows what state Stony Brook is in.
California?
No, it wasn't that. That was wrong.
I have no idea.
No, that was wrong too.
Yeah, I have not a clue.
I don't either. It could have been California, but I'm just not giving Drew $1.
Send me through that wireless cable.
Yeah, I'll send you a wireless $1.
Yeah, Sam, I still don't have Verizon. What's going on, man?
Well, it's I don't get down your way all that often. Oh, speaking of Stafford and your local Royal Farms that we talked about here a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, we're gonna have this debate again?
Yeah, I'm ready to go because I had me the Royal Farms today. What is this greasy Royal Farms chicken that you? The only thing I can figure out is you weren't at a Royal Farms.
That's 100%. Okay. Look, man. Look, it was the Royal Farms in front of the Walmart on 17. Okay, that's the Falmouth Royal Farms. I go in there, literally. And this cloud of grease, just like. Is all over me. Okay, I go to get a drink out of the thing, and literally the handle's got grease all over it. Okay, I get my drink.
I'm going to stand by the fact that you were not at a Royal Farms.
100% was at Royal Farms, and I look at the glass window, and I watched this guy take a vat of fried chicken and throws it against the freaking window. It smacks the window, and it drips down into this pan. And I'm telling you, dude, like the mac and cheese that they had and the potato fries and everything else, the potato fries look like they were basically they came out of the refrigerator from yesterday.
Their potato fries could stand to cook a little bit longer. I will give you that. Their mashed potatoes rock.
I'm like, no, thank you.
You didn't even try it. Oh man, the chicken is to die for, man.
I've had it. If you're going to tell me that Sheetz is not better than Royal Farms,
chicken, yes.
No, chicken, yes.
Okay,
but
all right.
That's all Royal Farms has.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd rather go to Popeyes, dude. I'd rather go.
Yeah. Okay, I've got to take you to one of the good Royal Farms. I'm going to take you to the one that's out on in Chantilly, or the brand new one that's only like a week and a half old here that just opened right down the road from me. And
you mean the one that doesn't have their lard that's about 3 years old that they continue to use?
I guess so. Maybe it's it. Maybe that's it, or maybe they just they're just trying to play the same game that all those other truck stops up and down 95 do, and just want to make the food as greasy as possible.
Now we're talking about food, man, which is obviously something. Yeah. Give me your top 3 sides for Thanksgiving.
And let me put something in here. The 7-Eleven in Manassas beats any food out there, hands down.
Man.
Chicken,
He's the man.
burgers, pizza.
Yep. That the brand new 7-Eleven at the corner of
Lomond
34 and Lomond Drive.
Disgusting.
The best food, hands down, no matter where you go.
It is.
You guys need to travel. That's all I can tell you.
No,
You
no,
gotta
no,
do
no,
the travel,
no.
because
There are
you guys-
there are only two of these 7-Elevens in the
In
country.
Manassas.
One of them is in
it's
Manassas.
not good.
It's Raise the Roost chicken. That's the brand name. It's not 7-Eleven chicken. It's Raise the Roost. This
Yeah,
stuff
I've been there.
is
The pizza that they had, seriously, the pizza that they had was.
I want regular 7-Eleven pizza. And while we're on 7-Eleven foods,
I had regular 7-Eleven pizza today.
oh, I'll take that. I'll take that all day, every day. How about a 7-Eleven cheeseburger? You got thoughts on that?
Put chili on it.
That
Oh,
reminds me of, it must be the
best.
cheeseburgers from school.
It does. That's why I'll get one every time. I don't
It does.
care.
It does
Yeah.
beat the package pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, from school pizza. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. So all right.
I'm
So
telling you, if you get a burger and you put chili and cheese on it, it will change your life forever.
So I just want to get it, take it out of that foil wrapper and throw it in my mouth. No toppings go on it. I don't add ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, onion, lettuce, nothing. It's just that. And then up around my area here too, Why Not Stop, which is a convenience store that's attached to BP stations.
Very nice.
That is a cheeseburger, my friend.
Their chicken sandwich over here is the same one over at the old Aiden Road shop. It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Chicken sandwich, double cheeseburger.
That's Why Not Stop? So, all right. So, wow,
we're Buc-ee's, man.
But we're talking about Thanksgiving.
I know. The show we were talking about it. I was talking to the wife, and I was like, yeah, let's, for our big trip next year, how would you like to go to Airedalesville, Georgia? She's like, where's that? Oh, it's just Western Georgia. Western Georgia is supposed to be beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Okay, but it's got a Buc-ee's. I don't give a crap what it looks like.
You gotta go.
Buc-ee's.
You gotta stop by the Piggly Wiggly.
Experience.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh man!
All right. Thanksgiving sides, man. Top 3.
Okay, well, before we get there, stuffed bird or unstuffed bird?
Un.
Okay, all right. I'll take both.
No, the stuffed bird gets soggy, and like the stuffing is not great, and it dries out the meat.
And Dad would put the oysters in it, and that just killed it for me. He would put the oysters.
I've never had an oyster stuffing. Now, my parents do not do the stuffing into bird. They make and it's fine. I'm happy with it. My wife's parents, that he makes a homemade stuffing. It is amazing, and cooks it in the bird, and I love it too. When the stuffing versus dressing debate, I'll take both.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like the best turkey that you can make. I've had every sort of turkey meal that you can ever imagine, like, with my family and church and everything else. The best turkey I've ever had is my mother-in-law. She would make a turkey breast. Actually, it was my grandmother-in-law, God rest her soul. But she would make a turkey breast, put it into a crock pot, put some apple juice, put some chicken broth in it, and then a stick of butter, and then a whole cup of brown sugar, right? And let it in the crock pot and just let it go all day long.
Oh.
It is the best, juiciest, delicious turkey you'll ever have. And it literally just falls out and you pull it off.
That's great. That's great.
Perfect. That's the best turkey I've ever had.
I like putting the bacon wrap on the top of the turkey.
See, I'm not a fan.
I don't think you need to do that.
You don't.
My secret for a turkey is brine. You brine that bird, and you're going to have a great one. I tried to make a turkey breast just here a couple weeks ago. It was a terrible turkey. I didn't brine it, and it turned out terrible.
Yeah, and try that recipe, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, apple juice, some chicken broth, stick of butter, and a cup of brown sugar, and put it in the crock pot. Leave it be. It's unbelievable.
The crock pot is just totally awesome. Take yourself a whole chicken, put a whole chicken in the crock pot, turn it on low, 6 to 8 hours. You don't have to add anything to it. It's a perfect something. Hey, do you have an Instapot?
It's hard to beat a Costco. It's hard to beat a Costco rotisserie chicken, though.
Absolutely, yeah. You're right. But this crockpot chicken it's pretty darn good too. Actually, Harris Teeter's got a great one too.
I got to eat that one time.
Yeah. Do either of you have an Instapot?
No.
I'm not a fan of pressure cooking, man.
Oh, I will make you a pot roast that'll change your life.
Okay. I
It's
hear it does.
and I hear everybody whenever I say this, and it's like, well, hey, I make a pot roast in a crock pot. It turns out just fine. Yes, you do, but you have to plan it. I can pick up a pot roast on the way home from work, and I'll have myself a pot roast, carrots and potatoes to eat in an hour and a half.
That's beautiful.
And it's just falls apart, melt in your mouth.
Well, when you bring that, I will bring the pulled pork, which will absolutely blow your mind.
Winter chicken dinner. The pulled pork is just absurd. I mean, it's the best barbecue you'll ever eat.
And it's not made on a grill. It's not made in a smoker. It is the most traditional way of cooking.
It's the most delicious barbecue you'll ever.
I don't care. I'll eat. If you tell me you cooked some pulled pork in the back of your pickup truck, I'm probably going to eat it
right off the bumper, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So let's get to the top.
We'll do the motion sports seasonal dinner.
Yeah. Gosh, how the shows always devolve into convenience stores, but I don't think Thanksgiving dinner is devolving. Thanksgiving dinner is the height of all conversation.
It revolves around sports because Thanksgiving dinner. What's the Thanksgiving dinner without watching football?
It's family, it's sports, it's time off work, it's delicious food. And it's a time that we all get to be thankful. There is nothing and there's nothing else that's involved with that. It's not like 4th of July and fireworks and Christmas with presents and Halloween with the little beggars at your door and everything like that. Thanksgiving, it's just everybody come to the house. We'll do some stuff. We'll have a great meal and we'll watch some football.
Yep, I love it.
So my top 3, as we're talking, mac and cheese 1. Swedish meatballs, number 2. Mashed potatoes and gravy, 3.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. My number 1 has to be dressing or stuffing. However you make it, I'm going to have it. That's my number 1. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. Number 2, just standard fare mashed potatoes and gravy. A good gravy is really going to make that. And my number 3, this one didn't show up in my life until I met my wife. Apple crisp.
Mom's making that right now.
That's my number. And I don't know why it sits right next to my mashed potatoes and my turkey, and you get a little bit of everything on there. And it does it. And I didn't understand the mac and cheese as part of Thanksgiving until my daughter asked for it a few years back, and so now it's appeared on our Thanksgiving table. I've asked this is at my wife's parents, my in-laws, where we go to for dinner. I've asked for a Thanksgiving lasagna for 5 years now, and I'm constantly told no, that it doesn't belong. Greg, if you were served lasagna along with your Thanksgiving dinner, would you say yes or no?
Lasagna belongs in America every single day. It doesn't matter the holiday. I mean,
absolutely.
Who doesn't like lasagna?
Right. There's the.
And if you add bacon to it, heck yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll give you my best ever Thanksgiving dinner that I've ever had. Okay, these are my 3 sides. Okay, obviously your turkey and ham are your staples. We did a mashed potato bar. Okay, hear me out. Mashed potatoes, and you had a choice with candied bacon, artichoke hearts, whatever you want, sour cream, butter, salt and pepper. You could put olives, whatever you wanted in it. Okay, and then you just mix it all up. Somebody's mixing it up for you. And it's just amazing. Guys, I'm telling you straight up, the mashed potato bar, top of my list. Unbelievable. The candied bacon, artichoke hearts, sour cream, and butter, salt and pepper. Unbelievable. Okay? It'll change your life. Number 2 for me is pickle rolls. Okay? Take a dill pickle, and you put some cream cheese on one of those little hams that you get.
The little $1 for the ham package.
Cream cheese on it. You roll up the pickle with a cream cheese and ham, and you cut it in slices, and you have little pickle rolls, man. Awesome. And I mean, mashed potatoes, pickle rolls, and my number 3 is deviled eggs. I gotta have deviled eggs, man. So, turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, with a mashed potato bar, pickle rolls, and deviled eggs.
The Colonel
pickle-
is
The
so
pickle roll I've absolutely never heard of, and deviled eggs. I'm not an egg fan at all of just about anything.
Neither is my wife after I eat them.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but I just
let me guess, you were baking those in the Dutch oven.
it's just when you pick up a deviled egg and it's all squishy and
yeah, when they come out, it's scrambled.
And Sam, I just got a text message. From Melissa. She's saying stuffing remains undefeated in her book. So you're on the same page with her. So
yeah, that's right. Brilliant minds think alike.
Nice.
It's
yeah, man. I mean, that's a staple, man. But
so
the mashed potato bar is 100% legit. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
This question is kind of like which way does your toilet paper go? So if you have your plate of whatever it is that's on there, do you eat everything together, or do you have to eat the turkey first, the ham second, the macaroni third?
Okay, so this is a big thing for my daughter. My daughter Sarah, will not let her food touch. Right?
That's psychotic.
I've got a daughter like that too. Yep.
That's psychotic.
Yeah.
Is that true, Sarah? Yes, it is. Like if my corn, like by the way, the only way to make corn, guys, is take corn, your corn itself, put it into a pot, put a ton of sugar in it, and let it simmer with a stick of butter in it, let it boil out. It is legit. That's the only way to make corn. Your corn and mashed potatoes are allowed to mix. If you have peas,
and probably
they should be
should.
Yeah, if you have peas, I like peas.
But when you take a bite, take and cut you up a piece of turkey, and then you just take that fork of turkey and you run it through the mashed potatoes and gravy, and you have a turkey mashed potato gravy torch, and you stuff that in your mouth. That's the only way to eat turkey, I believe. And I told you, and it's probably touching the apple crisp, so it's going to get some sweetness in the apple crisp.
Let me say this. You should be able to feel comfortable eating turkey with your hands at any event.
Oh, yeah,
Even if you're at a 4-star hotel, if you don't put that on the fork and don't eat the turkey and pull the turkey and maybe dip it into your mashed potatoes, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
This is another thing that's absolutely culture. This is amazing about Thanksgiving. It's you're talking about how one family does something, and Drew's talking about doing something else, and I've got other ways. But none of these things are wrong, and there's absolutely everything I'm down to try. And so my wife's family makes the homemade stuffing, and my parents will use box stovetop. I don't care, but they take it, and then after you mix it, you put it on a cookie sheet and bake it, and you cut it into squares, and so it's a little crispy square, and you take one of those, and then you take and put some turkey on it, and then you put another piece of stuffing over there, and you have yourself a turkey stuffing sandwich. Can't be beat.
No,
if you're not eating it that day, eating that the next day, or picking it out of the refrigerator when it's cold, making yourself a little turkey stuffing sandwich.
So you know what's overrated? Fried turkey, overrated.
I've only had it. Oh yeah.
Completely overrated.
Yeah, it's like it can be jerky if you don't know what you're doing. I mean,
sweet potatoes. I'm gonna put sweet potatoes in the overrated.
I'm a sweet potato fan. I like sweet potatoes. I like sweet potato fries and all that stuff. But I mean, like the yams and stuff like that. Give me a break.
Green bean casserole, you can throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You take a can of green beans, take a can of cream of mushroom soup, put that in one of those disposable pie pans, throw that in the smoker for about an hour. Smoked green bean casserole. That's the way to go.
Here's the deal. If I go to a house, and you have onions in your green beans, I'm walking out. Okay.
You're not an onion guy. I can eat an
out
onion
of here with that. Like, look, why are you putting onions in your green beans? Like, that should be. I mean, get that crap out of here. Why do you have to have onions in your green beans? Bacon, ham, onions. Come on, man. Get out of here.
Like a regular white or Vidalia onion, I'm cool with. But those
no
cocktail,
onion.
the little cocktail onions.
Oh yeah,
Pearl onions, the pearl onions.
That's
Oh.
yeah, pearl onions. Oh, that's
The crunchy onions I can probably deal with, but it wouldn't go on green beans.
yeah.
All right. What pie are you having for Thanksgiving?
Okay,
Apple.
so here's the thing. Your pumpkin pies suck. Get out of here with that stuff. Okay. I don't care what the Pilgrims did. You know what I mean? No one eats pumpkin pie. Okay.
Apple pie.
No. I mean, that's
This guy. If I had the chance, and I am going to do this one Thanksgiving, I'm going to take an entire pumpkin pie and just sit down after dinner and eat the entire pumpkin pie by myself because I know I can pull it off.
Let me tell you something. I used to own a coffee shop. Okay, your pumpkin, your pumpkin stuff that you put in your coffee, your pumpkin spice and all that crap. It's overrated. It's not that great.
Did McDonald's ever come out with a pumpkin pie? Heck no.
You know what pumpkin pie spice is? Pumpkin pie spice is cloves and cinnamon. That's all it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever ate a clove? Have you ever bit into a clove?
Oh my gosh!
Accidentally
yes, by
ham?
mistake. Yeah.
Do you just bite into that like, man, that would be great in coffee?
But I tell you, I can make a heck of a drink called a drunken pumpkin with it's vodka. Forgot what the other thing is, and some pumpkin pie spice. That's some not bad drinking.
No.
But I tell you now, pumpkin, like your pumpkin spice latte. Nah, I'm not a fan.
No.
But a pumpkin flavored coffee. Black Rifle has a pumpkin coffee. Really darn good stuff.
We did too. It was okay. I mean, look, I've
had the Orange County Roasters pumpkin coffee. It's not that Black Rifles. Black Rifles is some pretty good pumpkin coffee.
It's overrated. Now look,
update. It's New England 10-0 over Atlanta. Mac Jones just threw a touchdown to Aguilar.
Daggone it.
Yeah, it's looking. That's looking like an easy cover for New England.
It's not good because I got Falcon 7.5 man plus the over, so it didn't look too good for your boy.
New England's gonna just spank that game, and also the Wizards are getting spanked by the Heat as well, 72-57. So looks like their luster has tarnished a little bit. So
hey, breaking news. Antonio Brown is accused of having acquired a fake COVID vaccine claim.
Saw this one earlier too. Yeah. I saw that and mentioned it to my wife, and she's like, "Well, you know, someone was going to do this."
Well, I heard it was. I mean, not only him, but
there's a bunch of people.
There's a bunch of players.
Yeah, like I think it was like his private chef or something like that is the one who outed him. Yeah. That's a bummer.
Ravens Lamar Jackson missed practice today with non-COVID related illness.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that when I was looking up our guest Melissa Kim and her Twitter. She was on that. She was all over it.
Yeah, Bateman was out for undisclosed illness, and Hollywood is out for illness as well.
Hey, Bears defense signed the flu as their defensive coordinator. It's the only chance we've got, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But guys, man, it's crazy. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Great discussion. It's 9 o'clock, guys. 9:05. We're shutting down on the Motion Sports Network on Roku and Amazon. Check us out, guys. Go to Motion Sports Net. Our senior writer, Sam Kales, is on it with a lot of blogs, a lot of fun stuff that we write up. Every once in a while, I'll come in with an article. Guys, it's going to be a great weekend. I'm traveling to Virginia Beach. I've got a little fishing tournament that somebody's trying to throw down on me, so I'm going to have to lay the smack down on these guys. So I'm out of here this weekend, but join us next Monday night as we recap the Week 11 NFL week and also Week 12 college football. Talk a little bit baseball, some free agencies coming up. And guys, we have a pretty good weekend. Kind of preview a little bit of what the playoffs are going to look like for both college and NFL, and see if we can get a little bit more headway on what's happening. But guys, for Sam and Drew,
and special thanks to Melissa for being our guest for today.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Please reach out to her. Follow her on Instagram.
Tell her how much you enjoyed her coming on here with us, because we definitely enjoyed having her.
Absolutely.
Go Bears.
Go Ravens 28-17. I'm calling my shot.
Go football teams.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. I might find a football team to root for one day. So, all right, guys.
See
you later.
Have a great night. Bye.